Hi everyone. If you think becoming good with money is about being smart, this book will completely challenge that idea. Because according to the psychology of money by Morgan Housel, money is not really about numbers, it's about behavior. And honestly, that one idea explains why some people with average income build real wealth, while others who earn a lot still stay stressed, broke, or trapped. Most people assume money success comes from intelligence, knowing where to invest, knowing when to buy, knowing when to sell. But this book says something far more important. Your financial life is shaped less by what you know and more by how you behave when life gets emotional. And that's what makes this book different. It is not trying to turn you into a finance expert. It is trying to stop you from becoming your own worst financial enemy. Let me put the whole book in one line. Getting rich has a lot to do with the knowledge that you have, but staying wealthy has everything to do with the behavior. This is the heartbeat of the book, because making money once is possible, getting lucky once possible. You might look rich, very possible, but building wealth quietly, patiently, and sustainably over a long time, that takes a completely different mindset. This book is basically a collection of life lessons disguised as money lessons. And the scary part is you start realizing that most financial mistakes are not caused by lack of information. They're caused by ego, fear, impatience, comparison, and overconfidence. Which means the biggest competition in your financial life is usually not the market. It is you. Let's be honest. Most of us don't make bad money decisions because we are dumb. We make them because we are emotional. We panic when market falls. We overspend when we feel insecure. We chase things we don't even want just because other people seem to have them. And this is where Morgan becomes brutally accurate. He reminds us that people from different backgrounds, different income streams, generations, and experiences with all think differently about money, and all of them will think they are being reasonable. That matters because money decisions are never made in a vacuum. They are made through your past, your fears, the experience that you have so far, your family history, your definition of success. So when this book talk about psychology, it means exactly that. Money decisions are personal because people are personal. One of the best lessons in the book is the difference between being rich and being wealthy. And trust me, this one hits hard. Being rich is visible. Being wealthy is hidden. Rich is the expensive car, the luxury watch, the flashy vacation, the apartment that makes people say, wow. Wealth is what you don't see. It is the money that was not spent, the investment sitting quietly in the background, the savings account, the emergency fund, the freedom to say no. This is such a powerful idea because we live in a world that constantly rewards appearances. People see the car, they don't see the loan. People see the brand, they don't see the stress. People see the lifestyle, but they don't see the insecurity behind it. And this book asks a very uncomfortable question. Are you trying to build wealth, or are you trying to look wealthy? That line alone can change how you spend money for the rest of your life. Now, here is where the book gets deeper than personal finances. Morgan says the best thing can money buy is control over your time. Not just stuff, not just status or comfort, time, freedom, and options. And that is such an important shift because a lot of people chase money thinking the end goal is luxury. But for most people, the real dream is much simpler. To not be forced, to not be desperate, to not stay stuck at places, jobs, or relationships because they can't afford to live. That's what real financial power looks like. Not necessarily a bigger house, but more breathing room in your life. This book keeps coming back to that idea. The highest dividend money pays is independence. And honestly, this might be the most mature definition of wealth I've heard in my entire financial journey. Here is where most people lose. Not because they don't earn enough, not because they don't know enough, but because they can't stay in the game long enough. This is one of the strongest message in the book. In money, survival matters more than brilliance. Think about two investors. One is aggressive, highly confident, always chasing massive returns. He makes bold moves, take huge risks, and want to win fast. The other is patient, not flashy, not exciting, just consistent. Who wins? Usually the second person. Why? Because the first person might be right 5 times and then destroy everything on the sixth. This is such a simple point, but it's everything. Compounding only works when you don't interrupt it. And people interrupt it all the time by panicking, by quitting, by getting greedy, by trying to look smart, by taking risks they don't actually need to take. So the goal is not to be the smartest person in the room. The goal is to be the person who doesn't get knocked out of the game. Everyone loves the idea of compounding. We have all heard of it. Very people loves the patience it requires. And the book explains that beautifully. We often look at someone like Warren Buffett and focus only on the size of the result. But Morgan points out something more important. A huge part of Buffett's success is not just he earned strong returns, it's that he earned those returns for a very, very long time. That's the part people underestimate. We want dramatic success stories, fast growing, quick wins, life-changing results in months. But wealth usually grows in a way that feels unimpressive at first. Slow, quiet, almost boring. And then one day, it starts looking extraordinary. This doesn't apply only to investing, it applies to saving, to business, to your skill, to your reputation. A lot of big outcomes are just small choices repeated for longer than most people can tolerate. That's a hard truth. Because it means there may be no exciting shortcut, only discipline. This may be one of the smartest ideas in the whole book. Morgan says that when it comes to money, reasonable is better than rational. At first that sounds wrong. Shouldn't rational always win? Not really. Because the perfect financial strategy on paper is useless if you can't emotionally stick with it. Let's say mathematically best investment plan is super aggressive, huge upside, huge volatility, huge stress. If the strategy causes you panic every time the market drops and you end up selling at the worst time, then it was never the right plan for you, isn't it? A slightly less optimal strategy that keeps you calm, consistent, may actually give you better results in life. And that's such an important reminder for anyone trying to improve their finances. The best plan is not the one that sounds impressive. It's the one you can actually follow. That idea alone removes so much shame. You don't need the most sophisticated strategy. You need a strategy that survives your moods, your fear, and your human nature. This part of the book adds a lot of humility. And honestly, the more people need to hear it. We love clean success stories. We love believing that successful people won only because they were smarter, hardworking, or more disciplined. Sometimes that's true, but it's never the whole story. Luck matters, timing matters, risk and circumstances matters. Some people get opportunities, others never get it. Some people make one mistake and recover, others make the same mistake and they are never able to recover. This doesn't mean hard work doesn't matter, it means the world is not as neat as we pretend it is. And when you understand that, you become wiser. You stop judging people too quickly, you stop worshipping success too blindly, and you stop building your own plans as if nothing can go wrong. That mindset makes you more careful, you save more, prepare more, and you leave good amount of margins for bad luck. Which is not pessimism, it's maturity. One more idea that might offend some ambitious people. The book says one of the most important financial skills is knowing when you have enough. And in a world built on comparison, that is almost radical. Because if more is always the goal, then peace becomes impossible. There will always be someone richer, someone younger and more successful, someone with a bigger house, better car, better lifestyle. Comparison has no finish line. That's why Morgan warns that if you don't define what's enough means for you, ambition can quietly turn into greed, and greed is dangerous because it convinces people to risk what they already have for what they don't actually need. This is how people self-destruct, not because they had too little, but because they refuse to stop. And believe me, this is not anti-success or anti-emptiness. Build, grow, aim high. But don't let the pursuit of more steal your ability to enjoy what you already built. What makes the psychology of money so powerful is that it doesn't try to impress you with complexity. It simplifies what is becoming shallow. It gives you ideas that feel obvious once you hear them, but somehow you were never living by them. This is not a book full of technical formulas, it's a book full of perspective. And sometimes perspective is worth more than tactics. Because better tactics won't save you if your mindset is broken. This book is helping you, the people, redefining wealth, redefining success, redefining what money is actually for. And that's why it stays with the people long after they finish it. So should you read The Psychology of Money? Absolutely. Especially if you are tired of finance advice that only tells you what to do, but never explains why smart people make bad decisions. This book is not about getting rich quick, it's about becoming harder to fool, especially by yourself. And if I had to summarize the entire book in one sentence, it would be this. Doing well with the money is less about mastering finances. It's about mastering your own behavior. That is the real lesson. Not just for investing, for life. At the end of the day, the psychology of money leaves you with one uncomfortable but freeing truth. You do not need to be a genius to build wealth. You need patience, you need self-awareness, discipline, and most of all, you need to stop making decisions just to impress people who are not even thinking about you anyway. Because real wealth is not noise, it's quiet control, it's options, peace, it's time that you get. And maybe that's the biggest lesson that this book matters. It doesn't just teach you how to think about money, it teaches you how to think about enough. And in a world where everybody is trying to look successful, this book teaches you how to actually be the one and to be the secure. So this was a review of The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Thanks to listening to this.